All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Podcast in the North. My name is Bota, and we're coming at you live from Sunbelt Hotel, and we're joined by the one and only Dr. Matthews Mtumbuka. A big hand, guys. And I'm not alone in the building. I have my co-host Devon Black. Devon Black, wapokelelane doctor.
Tampokelelani kunokaya.
Taonga chobeni.
Kwali mululi.
Makora mwa YouTube.
Tati makora. Kwali ukaya na kumaka kodi.
Simba wewe.
Taonga.
So, Doctor, I wanted us to start by just making the basics clear. Where were you born and how was your upbringing like?
Yeah, so I was born in Rumpi. My mom and dad were teachers in primary school around Borero area, predominantly Catholic schools, Kawaza, then Jumbi. So I was brought up in a typical rural Malawi, by which I mean we didn't have running water. We were 4 boys, 2 girls. My elder sister was in Mzuzu and uncle, so I was the eldest. The other girl came much later. So what meant is that mom was a busy teacher. I was boy and girl when I was growing up. I used to go to the river to draw water.
Okay.
I used to cook. Mom was always at school, so I had a very peculiar upbringing where I did everything that the boys did, like going to the garden and all those things. At the same time, I did everything that girls did in terms of cooking, taking care of the house. And my mom said, we don't have girls here, so you have to do it. So the girls used to laugh at me. But my mom would say, don't worry about it. So I think she gave me a lot of support, and I think those kind of things matter in life because it means I have the stamina that when I'm doing something right, I don't mind what people say. Provided it's right. And so the important thing is here that I grew up in a rural setting. We didn't have electricity. The first time we had electricity, the first time I experienced electricity close hand was when I was going down to see the uncles, or when I went to the seminary when I was 13, 14 years of age. So we had magets now every night. St. Patrick's Seminary. But for my parents, the first time we had electricity was 1996 when we moved to Ekwendeni. My dad had retired. He wanted to be closer to hospital because he retired on health grounds. So now he built a house there and he put electricity. So I lived in a house with the Magesi when I was going to university. So a typical village life. I woke up in the morning. My dad was like a military teacher. He would wake you up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm standing 4 with my brother. He wakes you up at 4:30 with the Koloboy, Mana Merengeng, Muzakaribawe. So I'd read 4 up to 5 o'clock in the morning. 5 o'clock, Kendran Majembe to take Munda. We go to Munda 5 o'clock. We are there until around 5:45. Then we come home. Then I have to bath and I have to prepare breakfast. And that breakfast was not tea and bread. Forget the English breakfast. It was typically baramgaiwa na sugar, sometimes mchele, paravaenda, patata. Most times I would also prepare chikondamo na mise, local bread.
So mchumanya kupanga chikondamo.
Speaking about your family, would you say mjogere kubanja poloshota kwambiri kapena
middle class?
What's the?
I would say it's a very, I've thought about that a lot. I think doing well is relative.
Yes.
I think globally would say we were not doing well. But you'd be surprised in our setting we were until I was very enlightened. When I was very young, we were doing extremely well. For example, when we went to Jumbi now, in 76, that whole locality, there were only 2 bicycles, 3. My dad's bicycle, the deputy headmaster, my dad was headmaster, the deputy headmaster had bicycle, and the village headman. There are only 3. So that is the motor car, that level.
Those days,
So we were like the people who had mobility.
Yes.
So in that sense, we were kind of doing well, and mom could afford a chicken or twice a week. So in that setting, we were doing well. But for me, one of the things that made me get educated was my laziness in the field. In the kumulima, up now we talk with that. I asked him, we are 6, tell me, am I not the laziest kumunda? He laughs, but I know he means yes. So I hated kumunda. So I knew Nicoleske Mabuku. For evenings I'm going to So in a way that helped, but I think to say the truth, we were not rich.
Okay.
We were not doing very well. But we were not bad at all, because we have never had a situation where we didn't have food. And my parents, because they were very hardworking and made us work hard, we always had food, in fact plenty of food. But that food, to have it, we had to sweat. My dad grew everything. Dad has grown everything. He would grow in a season, he would grow everything. Maize, groundnuts, sweet potatoes, Irish potatoes, onions, vegetables, and if you know vegetables, Chinese, rape, piru. I was the one watering them, and tomatoes. He I don't know, he would grow 20 things. You know, he's done sunflowers, he's done cotton. We've grown all those things. So we were doing well. At home, there would be plenty of food, plenty of things that we produced. Which means, in fact, therefore, that when we talk about poverty in Malawi, if we give people, number one, the civic education, number two, for those who can't, some kind of starter pack, properly managed, I think everybody should have food. But when you look at like starter pack, it's given wrongly. It's given in a way that they just give you, forget you, the next day you go back again. I think we should give, here is starter pack, you need 5 bags of fertilizer. We've given you 5 this year, next year we'll give you 3. So from whatever you produce, keep some to buy 2 bags. So next year you will have 3, we'll give you 3 bags. Then the other year we'll give you 1 bag. The other year we've forgotten about you, you're able to handle yourself, we go to the next family. When we do that, it becomes sustainable. Because if you look at our family, the only difference between us and the other people who maybe didn't have food is 2 things. One, that my dad and mom, being teachers, were able to buy fertilizer, always enough. And number 2, they had the spirit of working hard and wanting to be self-reliant.
Speaking about food, our economy, how Zambia take a month of budget for agriculture, in the sea,
Sure, that's the end game.
But then we have seen it now, but it's becoming very expensive to produce sima, and we can see it in southern region, Panoba and Wakujachiteze,
places like Nsanje.
What do you think is the solution for that? Because by the end of the day, I remember yesterday someone was asking me, "Kodin chifajani kaniza simas." Zima zafuta kwambie ku southern region, kumano ku north sikweni kweni. So I was telling them, but at least ku north we diversify. Sometimes we do some kondole, plantains here and there, Irish, punga. But the main mind of an average Malawian, akakauti sana jesima.
You haven't eaten at all.
What's your take on that one?
Yeah, I mean, so look, that one is true. The mentality is sima, and that mentality I think will take a bit of time to deal with, because you know I was in the UK for 7 years, and when I was there, I went with my wife. We were a young couple, 24 years of age. We would miss sima. You know, we would have good food. We would have the best of food there. I mean, British food is proper, is good. But to go a month without a sima, that was torture. Would look for a woofer. Would look. Should we not hear somebody's coming to UK asking for at least 1 tin of flour made from Malawi? When we would come for holiday, we would come here every year, and when going back, we made sure that we planned our trips that when we're going back with nothing, but all our bags are full of ufa, which we can eat for the next at least 2-3 years, so 2-3 months, and we would rationalize to eat twice a week so that it goes longer. When I was living in Scotland, there was this Nigerian shop. This man made money from ufa. Because all Africans, it's not just Malawi. The guys from Kenya, Zambia, all of us would be queuing up to buy ufa there. Very expensive. So I don't know.
Sima is not originally, maize is not originally Malawian.
Yeah, but I think the thing is this: there must be something in the maize that makes us addicted to Sima. If you consider properly, Sima doesn't have real taste.
Yes.
Doesn't it?
No, exactly. So,
Doesn't it have a taste?
okay, take Sima without any ndio. Sorry.
And how much is Sima without ndio?
Out of choice.
Sima ya masamba imakoma ngati.
Depends on the masamba.
Sima, okay, have you noticed we have to take Sima, put in the sauce to have a bit of a taste.
Yes.
To just eat Sima really, it's I think maybe, I don't know, I think one, we're conditioned to get used to it. Number two, probably, I think that Sima is good at filling our tummy. We feel nakuta, so I think so. But two things there now in terms of solutions. I think that number one is that we need to do exactly what you're saying, to begin a mindset change. That we should be eating other foods. Because with this population growth in Malawi, now we're 20 million, soon will be 30 million, we'll be struggling to produce enough maize for ourselves. If you remember 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, maize was not a commercial crop. I was talking to experts, they're saying, agricultural experts, they're saying maize now in Malawi is a commercial crop. Now I was putting on a borrowed economic mind on myself. I was saying, why are they saying it's a commercial crop now? It means you can plant maize and make a lot of profit. When you couldn't do that 5-10 years ago. Yes. So what has changed? I think what has changed is that the population has grown much bigger than what grown in the production of maize in Malawi. So in economics, demand and supply, the demand has increased, maybe doubled. The supply is almost where it was. So the price, or even reducing indeed, and then the price has gone so high up that if you grow maize, you make a lot of money. Therefore, in 5-10 years' time, that the price of maize, few and few people will be affording it. Therefore, it goes back to what you're saying, that we need to be shifting the mind now. What we need to do is, we shouldn't say stop eating Sima. We should say in 7 days, eat Sima 4 or 5 days. Then after sometimes say eat twice, reducing like that. Or we say Sima once a day. And then that, because we eat 2 big meals, breakfast.
Because by the end of the day, budget mbili kupita ku fertilizer to grow Mongongole as a country, just to have Sima, only Sima.
And yet the other foods you mentioned don't even need fertilizer, right? So I mean, you are young people, you are influencers, and I think that's why we need these podcasts. We should begin to do this. So boss, you need to lead by example. Let's see yellow growing maize.
I wanted to ask you about your education. I understand you went to St. Patrick's, where you did your MSCE, and then you went to Polytechnic, where you got your bachelor's, and then you went to Oxford. You went straight to getting your PhD.
That's right.
What happened to masters?
It vanished.
What do you mean it vanished?
Well, so what happened was when I was young, and this is what I want to inspire the young people. When I was young, I was very ambitious. How can I put it? I was very driven. I had no fear. I wanted to do big things. I wanted to do big things fast. I was driven, and I think when I look back, people say my CV is good, true, but I had a lot of friends who were equally good, but maybe they did not have the ambition or drive, so they did not achieve much of their potential. And that's what I want to challenge the youth. You need to, and I had a talk at the Mzuni graduation dinner this week, and I was telling them they must have high ambition and driven and all. So when I was at, to be specific, when I was at Poly, just before I finished, I started looking for scholarships. So there's this road scholarship, I got it. They said we were funding you for education at Oxford for 3 years. Now,
Masters.
No, they just said for 3 years. You go and look for a program at Oxford. So then I saw that if I go for masters in engineering at Oxford, it was 2 years. So the other
So
one
you have an extra year.
I have 1 year remaining. So what do I do with that 1 year? They said you can do another master's. So me, I thought, no, I do 2 masters.
No.
Then I said, what about PhD? So I looked, I found that if I do 2 years of masters, I'll remain with 1 year funding. If I apply for PhD, I'll need funding for another 2 years. But remember, my dad is a peasant farmer.
Yeah.
He can't pay that fees.
Yeah.
So I read a lot on Oxford and I found that Azungu, Amena Koza, honors, not ours was ordinary degree, but if they have honors degree, first class, they sometimes are allowed to go straight into PhD. So I asked my lecturers, I said, look, my degree is ordinary. If it was honors, I would have tried to negotiate. So one lecturer, Mr. Charles Bosha, rest in peace, he said, no, with your grades, we will argue that this guy is equivalent to honors. I will vote for you. You see, you always need people who can champion for you. So he said, let's make an argument as a special case.
Yeah.
So because with that support, I wrote to Oxford and I said I would want to jump masters, which means, to be honest, I was risk-taking or daring.
Yeah.
Because I was coming from Malawi, going to UK, and everybody goes through masters. I want to jump it. I think I was a bit mad. But luckily, they said, send us the transcript to see the grades.
Yeah.
So I sent them all the grades. They said, no, with these grades, we can allow you.
Yeah.
So they said, when you're applying, Professor David Edwards was the one I was conversing with on email. He said, when you apply, put attention, Professor Edwards. It will come straight to my desk, and I'll give you the exemption. He was the team leader there. So that's what I did, and he gave me the exemption. Then I went, but it meant I had to work really hard in the first year. That was a steep change. It's like somebody comes from some 8, says I'll go from 3, I will do JC. Almost like that. So you have
to catch up.
You have to catch up a lot. But the good thing is there was support. They told me that I could attend the master's classes. So I went to the master's classes for 2 or 3 weeks. I found that most of the material there, apart from research side, but the content were done at Poly. So the Poly degree was pretty good, but it was a steep, but it happened, and then that helped me to finish PhD very young, and then I've been able to do a lot of things. In fact, I meet some of the young people, but when they meet me, then they say, are you Dr. I say, yes. We thought you're an old man. I said, why? They said, we started hearing with Dr. Mtumbuka long ago.
Yes.
They said, I know I was young.
At what age did you get your doctorate?
27 years of age.
Wow.
So most people, even when I was there, most of the African students who were doing PhD, they were turning 40, 42 there. We were 24, 25, 26. They used to say, you are young people.
Yeah.
So that helped. That also helped in the sense that I was able now to learn other skills early. I spent time. I even did a diploma in accounting with MCA, but I didn't write the examination.
Why?
Why?
You just wanted to learn?
I wanted to learn. I wanted to know. Sometimes we're chasing papers, not the knowledge. So one, I wanted to learn. Two, to be honest, I didn't attend many classes. So I would have needed to spend a lot of time preparing for the examinations, but I'd gotten the knowledge I needed. Actually, that class, Nadi Amadara, Machua, Nandeshina, Samuel Tembenu, the lawyer, Patrice Nkonwat, I think out of maybe 25 people, I remember my 705.
The rest were just getting knowledge.
We were engineers, lawyers, but we just wanted to know the knowledge of accounting. So I did that, and I also did 1 year of law with the UK Open University. Again, it was just to be familiar with the legal system and to be legally aware so that I don't get sued, but also when I become a leader.
Was this all done in 3 years or?
No, so soon. So I finished at the age of 27. Immediately I did law for 1 year, up to 28 when I was still in the UK. When I came back to Malawi, I was 31. Then that's when I was now doing accounting with MCA for, I think it was 1.5 years, up to 32, 33. That's why I've been able to be chair of board committee on finance and audit at this bank, because I'm able to follow finance, accounting, and even my business. I think it has helped me in running business because I'm not an accountant, but I understand finance very well. Actually,
Speaking about learning, it seems you have traveled around the world.
Yes.
quite well.
Yes.
How important is traveling to the mind
Yes.
of an ambitious young
Oh,
person?
yeah. Well, traveling is powerful. What it does do is, I think, 2-3 things. One is psychologically. When you travel, there are 2 things psychologically happen. Number one is you just feel good. I'm sure you've seen, if you go to a new place,
Yeah. The excitement.
Yeah. So it gives you the energy, right?
So you feel refreshed,
and wild and energized. And then I think it expands the brain. I was reading somewhere. There was a time 10 years ago. I used to have a lot of memory, but 10 years ago, I would see with age, my memory is going down. So I was reading about how I can boost memory.
Yeah.
And one of the things they mentioned is that when I'm going to work, I should be using different paths. When coming back, don't drive the same memorized method. They said when you use different paths, the brain...
It's the same way.
Yes, exactly. Monga upita kuzoni, you go via Zolozolo, sometimes go via Chivavi, another time go via Gwendene and come back. Indeed, in Lilongwe, I like to walk in the morning. There is a Professor Mandara, Malawian, works in the US. He comes a lot. He's a medical professor. When he walks in the morning, I told my son, I said, look how this one walks. So he'll be walking, when he sees a bend, he just goes.
He doesn't.
He has no direction. He just, So the point is, when we travel, we are expanding the brain. We are refreshing it. We're getting it. And then additionally, you see things that are done, new things that we don't have. And you can copy and modify. You see how they do things differently. So it's a learning process because you discover new things, you see new things. That's why the rich man, Napoleon Zombie, keeps saying that one time he went abroad, I think Netherlands or somewhere, or Norway. He stayed there for 40 days just to see
how they do things.
Yeah, just how they do things. So I think travel is very, very important. I've been, as you mentioned, all over the world, and sometimes I travel on my own. And when I go to those places, I get inspired. When you see better things, you get you believe that you can also do big things. So comes on demand. So it takes out the fear. You start believing that if people have done it, why can't I also do it?
Komanopa atinyamata mbili akufuna kutuluka Malawi. Koma sikuta kufuna kutuluka to travel. It's because of the situation in Malawi. Malawi has lost its dignity. People are not proud to be Malawians. Like kungopeza passport. Ambili kwa panga limit in the passport. They want to leave. Young people want to leave.
And they don't want to come back, eh?
They will not come back.
There is nothing to come back.
So I wanted to hear from you, Kuti, what do you think would bring back the dignity of Malawi so that young people should be comfortable being a Malawian and being in Malawi?
Good point. So let's look at when I came back in 2009. Of course, for me, I planned that I'll go, study, work for 2 years, and come back. And I like leading a life that is planned. So started working to January 2006. So January 2008, I was 2 years. But now I saw that I needed to stay longer, a bit longer. I started getting tired now, and then Bingo had become president in 2004. He did well in 2009. He was now running for his second term. Things were moving very well in Malawi. Because things were moving very well, that made us really miss home. Because we wanted to be part of this improvement and development of Malawi. So a number of us came back home. I remember Isaac Chekesiva came back home. Dr. Thomas Chataram came back home. There is Dr. Peter Kumpalome in Planta came back home, and a number of people. So the point I'm making here is that I think the onus is on leadership of the country. If the youth can see that the country has hope, the young, they want to see hope. They want to see, when I'm growing up, what part of this society will I be living in? If they see Malawi's economy becoming good with jobs, if they can find jobs, good jobs where they can help their parents, I don't think that young people would want to be far away from their mom and dad and siblings. I think it's out of no choice. And that is one of the reasons why I am leaving my businesses to go into politics to represent the interests of the youth, because I understand these frustrations, I understand these challenges. And if you talk about travel being exposure, I've seen how it's possible. I worked in Rwanda for 1 year. They are not better than us, but the economy is doing much better than us because of leadership. I've seen it happen. I was in Kenya for 1 year, I saw it. So I want to do what happens in Rwanda and Kenya, maybe differently. But for Malawi to get out of poverty, and we've seen it happen. Bingu didn't take time to get Malawi out of poverty. I'm sure that with good leadership, number one, Malawi can get out of poverty very quickly. Number two, the youth would now restore their hope. And rather than wanting to go out, they would immediately change and want, like I wanted when I was young, to come to Malawi and be part of the story. They all want to be part of the story. I'm already seeing that. In my campaign, young people are volunteering. They are the ones pushing my campaign, really. Why? Because they want us to go into government and change things. And they tell me, I was in Blanda with a lot of young people like you, and they're telling me, so I think we need more and more of that. So the youth want a face they can relate with. That's why at Mzuni yesterday I was saying, when I go into government, I want the youth to have a real voice. And number one, in my cabinet, I'll always have at least 2 young people below 30. Sikana, Yamata, minimum. Young ministers, people like your age. So they should, the youth have a voice through those people. Number 2, parliament must be changed. You know, now for somebody to compete for MP to win, they need not less than 100 million. Which young person will have 100 million for campaign? I mean, even a million. So we should have seats where either the youth compete among themselves only, although that will be dangerous because it means only the rich young people will get power. But maybe we should have a methodology where the youth, I mean, get appointed. We can say 10 or 20 seats for young people. So and then a methodology where being from a rich family is not giving you an advantage. So maybe some method in which some youth represent their fellow youth. Maybe those who have been head boy or they have been leader or whatever, and then put them together, and then we look with, some process, or there's a board that is well represented that looks across the country and appoints some youth. But we should have members of parliament who are youth, reserved for them, compete among themselves, 10 or 20. Then in parliament, we should be having, when we are passing budget, we are discussing things, 10 youth are there. Not like Marema, but maybe they should be able to stop budgeting there and say,
sorry to cut you. Tipeza kuti advisor wa youth mundu wankulu minister of youth so who is representing the youth? You know what I mean? Yet we are 60% of the population. You put a good example there. Minister of youth should be youth here. Nukumbukira nthawi ya transition from autocracy to multi-party democracy. Just before that, Kamuzu Banda appointed George Caesar Jr. as a Minister of Youth. And at that time, Du was only, I think, maybe 30, 31. Because Du died at 33 in 1997. So I don't know, 93 minus 29. Du was 29, he was below 30. Kamuzu made him Minister of Youth. In fact, if you look at the picture of the first cabinet, 1964, Kamuzu had very young people. Have you seen that before? Maybe not. John Tembo was young, Alegeban was young, Wanda Japan. The Oton Chilwa started politics at 20-something.
You know what I mean? So Kamuzu Banda's first cabinet, many people there were below 30. They're the ones who built Malawi. So Malawi, nobody should.
So it's been destroyed by the older people.
You could say that. Because Malawi was built, because Malawi, I understand why you say that. Because Malawi was built by young people. Kamuzu, of course, was not young. I mean, he had already retired. But he knew he didn't have energy. He used the young people to run the... Maybe when I became president, you just have a couple of young people.
You live with young people.
You have mentioned Duchi Caesar. The likes of Oton Chilwa, who joined politics at a very young age. They were leading. But I wanted us to dive into that particular topic where right now the mindset of Malawians is that, not all Malawians, the majority would say, is that maybe Kunos, some people assume, those who have never visited, they assume kuti ku north anthu onse ndi atukulu. Number one. Number two, there is this stigma of munthu wa ku north sangati khalire ngati president. Now we have seen kuti, as we are saying, kuti if back in the day George Caesar Jr. or Don Chilwa Chipimpamo Chakufa Chihana and all that, they were active northerners in politics, but I think they never got to that, and we've never seen at that stage a northerner. So what do you think about that stigma? How do you plan maybe in your campaign?
No, I think we've always known that this is a lot of time. I mean, I'll not hide. I've always thought I can help lead this country.
Yeah.
But I was preparing myself to be a leader. That's why I did a bit of law, a bit of accounting. But because if you're going to be a big leader, you need to know a bit about everything.
Yeah.
You need to be an all-rounder. Now, I was waiting for a number of things. Number one, that I should be mature enough. Number two, that I should have all the experiences I need. Number three, that it should be a window of opportunity. Number four, that Malawi should be ready to have a leader from the north. So, if I'm entering politics now, it means I've tested these theories. Now, how do I illustrate this? Number one, let's start globally, then regionally. Globally, up to before Obama, nobody, including me, ever thought a black man can be elected president of America. And if I'm to ask you, which would be more difficult for a black man in America to become president, or a northerner in Malawi to become president? Which are on paper, which would be more difficult?
I think
a black man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But that happened, right?
Yes.
Second case, Britain. Forget Margaret Thatcher, she was Iron Lady, a very special one. So delete that phase, 1970 something to 1980s. Before her, there was no woman in British Prime Minister. After her, there was no one for a long time, since she left in the 80s, up to just 4 or 5 years ago. Then we got two ladies back to back becoming British Prime Minister. Before those two ladies, you know, we were almost believing the Britons cannot have a British woman, and this is a Zoom. But that stigma and all these things was so big. But worse than that, who thought Emanye, an Indian person, who thought an Indian person can be elected Prime Minister in Britain? But we had the issues now, recently. I asked the question, which would be more difficult for a British of Indian origin to become Prime Minister in Britain, or a fellow black Malawian from the north to become President of Malawi? Indian, right?
Indian.
Let's come now regionally. In Zambia. Zambia and Malawi, we are similar. They got independence in 64, same time with us, almost same year even. Then 1993-94, they transitioned, we transitioned same time. So our histories have been going together. Just a couple of years ago, HH became the first Zambian to be elected president from minority tribe. He's from a minority tribe like Mtumbuka kind of thing. Which means Zambia has already changed. And if you read Malawi is changing. I am going around the country as, canvassing the delegates. The people don't care much about where I come from. I've done radio interviews, and one time I was engaging people in Kasunga and Kota on radio, and they said, Mtumbuka mpitilize osafoka ife ndifachewa tuzonde Mtumbuka osaopa izozo nzachikale tikufotera. And I'm sure you've heard some people say that. There's this term nzachikale. It's the people remaining with that thinking are the failed, and emphasize failed politicians. Because they have failed, they won't use tribe as an excuse. You know, my team in the campaign, my inner circle team, there are very few northerners. You know, the media team is predominantly people from Central South. I don't even know where they come. We don't look at who comes from where. We don't even look at that. And my other teams, I don't have to say, some of the strategic teams and a number of teams, some of these, they all believe in this program. And very few are from the north. So Malawi has literally changed completely.
So Malawi is ready.
Malawi is ready to have a president from any part of this country, and it's happening.
Alright, so I wanted to find out we've been having issues about girl child. Culturally, sometimes even when it comes to education. I wanted to understand, what is your perspective when it comes to girl child?
I think that when it comes to girl child, it's something that we need to promote affirmatively. Because I told you about how when I was growing up, we didn't have my sisters. One was born later, the older one was in town, so I had to do house chores and all that. So I'm familiar. In the evening when I went to study, I was so exhausted, so tired because of the workload. I had to fetch water from the river around 4-5 p.m. Then I had to cook food for the dinner, and then I had to cook chikonda moe for the next day, and wash plates and what. By the time I finish all that, I'm exhausted. Reading, I was just sleeping. But is that not typical of a girl in the village?
It is.
The boys are not going to the river to draw water. When she's drawing the water, maybe for the whole family, the boys are just staying. She's cooking, they're not helping. She's washing the plates, they're not. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I went through firsthand. This is just one of the many issues peculiar for the women. Not just, but also to talk about in school, they need the sanitary support and what and all. So growing up in Africa as a girl has a lot of challenges for them to make it, to realize their potential. Even role modeling, how many girls have done that well to reach out, inspire other people? I've been inspired by many people. So I do think that indeed we need to do a lot for the girl child. I do know that recently there have been talks that there have been a lot of money and programs on the girl child to the disadvantage of boys. So we need to be balancing also. I think we need to do that, not at the expense of boys. So we need to close the gap, not make the girls now overtake the boys.
Okay, so what would be one of the strategies where that would be balanced?
Yeah, good question. I think the way I look at it is this, that if you look, say, for example, schools, my mom retired recently as a primary school teacher. So she told me that the girls would be given books, pens, pencils, and materials and all that. And there'll be a lot of boys who don't even have pens at all, nothing. I think that what we need is, first of all, government should allocate enough money to run education and other systems. How do we do that? Number one, we need to make sure everybody pays tax. What happens in Malawi now is that some of the people who should pay tax don't pay tax. And even the little tax that is collected is consumed through extravagant expenditure. Too much travel, too much allowances, corruption. So we need to deal with all those. When we deal with those things, money should go into education, into health and what. You find that 3/4 of the women issues already collapse. If the government is working, the women issues will be remaining very few. And then when those ones will remain few, for example, in case of books. So it means everybody will have the books. So that no longer becomes a girl boy issue. So when you're dealing with the girls, issues like sanitary and what, the boys will not have an issue because those are particular for the girls. But what is happening is that the programs for the girl child are coming, they're starting with what government should ordinarily do for everyone, the basics. What is basics? So for them to take the girl to realize their potential, they find that even the basics are not there as you right to put. So but now they're doing the basics for the girls before they go into the particular issues for the women. Then the boys are like, but are we not the human as well? So I think that's the crux of the matter, where the government must work so that the basics are there for everyone. Then we deal with the issues which are specific for girls. Then I think we're peace. Because they say you're not at peace without justice. So the boys feel but it's
we'll play a small game because it's a youth platform. We have a short game for you.
Good.
So
what's my prize?
Okay, so this game is known as When Was the Last Time? If so this is just for you. So when was the last time you cried? Could be tears of joy, could be because maybe you lost someone.
It was about a month ago. We were doing memorial service in our church for Dr. Stigma. And as the priest was coming in, we were doing memorial, I was like, so he really died. And then I shed tears.
Okay.
Okay, so when was the last time you prayed?
Prayed. Last night.
So this morning you haven't prayed?
I'll pray after this. I missed the prayer. At least I should not lie.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I think this one is a little bit of rhetorical. When was the last time you were broke?
Broke.
Yes.
Broke.
You didn't have money.
Didn't have money. No, I was that one. It was on Thursday last week. Thursday last week, in the middle of the campaign. I went on a campaign where I knew I needed so much money. I had little money, but I was hoping I'll find the money along the campaign. And I didn't get the money, and that day was bad. It was really bad. I mean, too bad. So when you are broke, it's like I had some money, but the needs were so many, and people calling me what? I almost got mad, and I had to call my wife, and then she said, "It will be all right. Don't worry." And sometimes that's what healed me. He said, "It will be all right." And then she also ran around and raised something. But 2 days later, 3 days later, things started getting better. And which talks to people who commit suicide. The solution could be around the corner. Can you imagine if I was weak and then I committed suicide? Not that I thought about it. But Monday things were fine. Thursday, by Monday things were fine. Now we are okay. And I can see next week I'll be much, much better. So, I was broke last week.
Okay. So I've picked up from your statement, Kuti, people need to talk to someone.
Thank you very much. Actually, being man, I was like, but I was feeling so bad. I said, no, I need to tell her. I just wrote a message. I was away from home. I said, I'm not. I think she noticed something. I stayed many hours without sending her a message. So I said, things are not all right. She said, what is it? I said, I am broke beyond measure. She said, things will be all right. And when she said that, I felt half healed. So you're right.
All right. The last question. When was the last time you told someone you loved them?
I tell my wife all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Did you tell her this morning though? Or you forgot
because
to
of
tell
this
her?
program.
Let me just add on that. When was the last time you took alcohol?
Last night we had a Zoom event.
No, before you finish. I understand you have bars. So from here we're going.
We should.
One or
thank you. You have invited yourself, and it has been granted.
Okay, thank you.
I think this one is the future politician.
Funny enough, I am the one trying to contest one.
He's the one who is a politician.
He's a good one because he's hiding.
Doc, just to catch up on politics, we have issues, and you have worked with Airtel.
Yes.
I want you to quickly answer this one. The issue of data. Data is expensive for a young person, and to bang my business, for example, this media company relies on social media, and data has been expensive, and I'm building mummies. The statistics show that not a lot of people are using the internet in the population of the country. So, and at some point, kunali issue ya data must fall, on social media, and then at least another CISA, these two companies, but now they are rising again, the cost of data. And you having worked with Airtel, what do you think is the solution of that? And Mwina Mkazaro wa Mboma, Muzabanga Jani as government, though these are private companies.
No, I think that number one is competition, demand and supply. If you look within the service providers of data services in Malawi, I think that maybe we need to inject a little more competition. They're too comfortable. So as government, we need to put deliberate policies to attract new investors. And it's not limited to telecoms only, even other sectors, but now we're talking about data. I think we need to open up more, give incentives to new players. If there was a new player coming now, the first thing they'll do is to reduce price so that they get more customers, right? And then the other guys will be forced to reduce price, no? I think that's number one, to put in measures that make new entrants come in to play the game. That's number one. Number two, when the players are unnecessarily increasing prices, it's the job of government to talk to them and intervene and force them, basically, right?
Yeah.
Because government stands for the people.
Yes.
And then number 3, I think, is that let's look at the levies also.
Yeah.
Levies. You know, all this fuel, you find that telecom companies, they're paying a lot of taxes and levies to mark around all these licenses. Are they sustainable? So we would need to do the mathematics.
Okay.
What are the components? Where are the overpricing coming from? If it is from the government levies, then let's reduce them. Because we compare with other countries, right?
Yes, yes.
If it is they are making too much profit, then let's squeeze them to reduce, bring in entrance. Yeah.
Koma ndichifukwa chani when people are aspiring, we hear all these bright ideas. Koma kusintha mundu akangowina. Even you dog, which is happens that we cannot find you anywhere to ask you this question.
You find me at Carlos.
What changes
We can't
these
find you.
politicians? What do you think changes?
I think I have an idea. I think what changes is one or two things. Number one is many people go into politics to make money. So it's the wrong intention. That's number one. Number two, a lot of people are never satisfied with money. A lot of people want more money and more money and more money and more money and more money.
Yeah.
I mean, people say when you get to that level, you also have big problems.
Yeah, true, but I'll come to that. And then number 3, I think, is that many people go in there, they're busy wanting power, but they've not prepared. They've prepared a lot on how to get power, but they haven't prepared a lot on how, when you're power, what to do, how to do it. So I've been studying these things. So number 1, I'm going into government not to make money. I make money in my businesses, enough money for me. In fact, it's the politics that is draining me. Without the politics, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going there with the right intention. And then number 2, wanting more and more and more money. People who have worked with me, I'm not driven by money. When I have enough money, I'm okay. I don't need too much money. Actually, that's why I help a lot of people. But I don't talk about that because that's between me and people and my God. And then number 3, the ability to take care. My track record shows I've been leader everywhere, and I'm the person who's driven by result, driven by impact, doing things. So, like I've done it with every position I've gone to. If you look, it's not just politics. Even you as young people, you find in our elections for club or society, youth, whatever, and I'm a funa nditu maudindo aje. Akaloa pale jina ubanga. Fa mambo funa CV. Ndikuna even my youth. Now me kupole dili leader kaya kupingo kushelo kuma engineers kwa so many that ask them, they'll tell you what you do impact do deliver do action.
Now Chidima, we know Kuti had reforms, the idea of reforms, and may so rest in peace. Sad news, Kuti Anapita. And you mentioned Kuti in the game. Kuti, last time you cried, it was also about him. Are you intending to also continue the ideas that he had in terms of reforms?
Oh yes, big time. Because I want to continue his legacy. So I will start where he stopped, including the manifesto. We still push the same one. Mega farms, 1 million jobs, Kudiagatatu, and the rest of them. And we have his manifesto in UTM. And when I become the leader of the party, we'll take the manifesto again and just update it. We'll not change much. But we'll have to look at it, of course. I'll add 1 or 2 things because time has elapsed in 6 years. So I'll continue with his legacy. I'll continue with his plans, but we'll just modify them.
Okay, so speaking of the manifesto, there's some things that they merged. Manifesto, MCP in the UTM. Issues in the mega farms, 1 million jobs, those ones. What do you think is the problem? Could our government those things?
The problem is, copy and original are different. We are original. So if copy haven't worked, it's the original.
Okay.
And by SKC, this is a personal question, but what is the biggest advice that you got from SKC? Because I know that you are very close with him.
I got a lot of advice, but maybe the biggest one or two would be, let me say 2 or 3, not just one, because it's very hard to find one, because I got a lot of so the ones that stand out to me.
Yes.
Number one time in his office, I was complaining about something, then he drew for me a circle like this one. He said, "Doc, look this circle. Draw a line here. This half of things in the world you can't control. This half you can control. Always play a game. Waste no time." Have you noticed people are wasting time with things which they can't control at all? I'm sure you've also been inspired by it, right? Correct? So when you are doing things, when you say, "I can't control this," leave it. Only deal with things you can control. Number 2, Saulos always believed that we should waste no time for trivial things. That's ngono. And if you observe, even mukamachiza ndaza, 3/4 of zinthu zimene zikukambidwa zilibe phindu zazing'ono kwambiri. Even in my campaign, sometimes people bring feedback. Yambiri ndiyo tandisa. Koma nthawi zina we are wasting time with zinthu zazing'ono kwambiri. Sindichula my examples because then I may be offended. But zimakalazi zazing'ono kwambiri. And then the third and last one, which is related to this one, is Saulos always said, "Let's focus on the big things." And Abana, if you can just do these 3 things, you'll be a small SKC soon.
Okay.
But come back to me.
Now that Mukuyimira ku UTM as president, what has been your relationship with the competitors prior to even this? Have you been interacting with Patricia Kaliati? Have you been Kabambe?
My relationship with them has been and continues to be normal. I knew all these people before this competition. Kabambe, when I was at Maswich, we used to interact with him when he was then budget director in government, 2009, 2010, so I knew him. We would meet here and there. Kaliati, I knew her from church and also within the party. We worked together in the party from 2018. I've been underground in the party. Kambala, we've known each other from 2009, 2010 in the profession. We're together in the Malayan Board of Engineers. So I did with all of them. In fact, earlier this week I was in Atlanta. And I called Kambala. I said, "Boss, I'm going back. Can I say hi?" He said, "Yeah, where are you?" He said, "At the office." I went to his office. We had the chat there and talked family. Our families know each other. Kaliati, we talked, I think, last week, and I talk with her every week. And Kabambe, we met recently, not once, and we were chatting. So our relationship is normal and cordial. And
there's also rumors kuti muntu kamalo wandale mafunika ka traditional pamono kuzikonzekeresa inyo masanzika
izo zantu achikunjalo ine katolika nene Kristo ndakasanza kwangu Yesu Kristo.
To close this chat, what do you want to be remembered as? Everything said and done, you are gone in this world. What do you want to be remembered as?
I think that I would want to be remembered for what most of my friends tell me, because I will be remembered by how the world sees me. So ambuye Yesu anafusa kuti anthu akuti ndine ndani, nanga inuyo mukuti ndine ndani. So on that basis, my friends tell me kuti ndine munthu woti ndimafunira anthu ena zabwino, that I want everybody to accept. And I didn't know they read that game, and that's what defines me. That I always want others to. If I move up, I want others to also move up. Ask anybody who has worked with me. That's what I always do, and that is why if I got into government, I want everybody to do well because I'm up there. That's why I want to go very up there. So I can pull everybody up.
You want to be a blessing, brother.
Yes, exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, this marks the chat with Dr. Matthews Mtumbuka. If you have a business you want to market with us, please contact on the numbers below. Follow and subscribe to this channel. Share if you can. And we hope we'll continue having these conversations and maybe in the future talk to you again, Doc. Otherwise, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Kuleke, akumba ine, kuleke. Nam leng leng leng, nam leng leng. Nam out esia, nam out esia. Sa la 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 la, la la. Sa la 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 la.